Friends, let me tell you about something happening right now out in the Pacific that you will not hear on the evening news. Or if you do, it'll be buried under 20 minutes of what the sailors have to eat for lunch on the Lincoln. The Asia Times is reporting that the United States is plotting a military comeback at the Philippines Subic Bay. You remember Subic Bay, once one of the largest U.S. naval hubs in Asia. We left there in the early 90s, right after the Pinatubo eruption and the usual hand wringing about imperialism. It was a different time, folks. The Soviets went bust, and the Chinese weren't even players back then. So Bush Sr. let it go. Now it's coming back into play in a big way. The U.S. Navy is moving to establish a military storage facility there by September 2026. We're talking a 5-year lease on 25,000 square meter climate controlled warehouse and maintenance shop, vehicles, equipment, up to 60 personnel. It's a first step. Uh, Dip a toe in the waters and test the temperature of the locals, not a full base takeover. The Philippine Constitution still has its limits, but a serious logistics footprint right where it counts. And on top of that, US and Philippine officials have greenlit a separate munitions plant being touted as the world's largest weapons manufacturing hub. Forward posture for us, self reliance for the Philippines, real sustainment capacity for American forces in the first island chain. This is strategic. Subic Bay sits on the South China Sea, close to Taiwan, perfectly positioned for distributed maritime operations. In a contingency, China would try to cut our long supply lines across the Pacific. Having storage, maintenance, and munitions production right there changes the math. It's about deterring Beijing's aggression, supporting allies, and projecting power without the old permanent base politics. And who's making these moves? Well, the Trump administration is rebuilding American strength around the globe, rebuilding alliances that matter, focusing on greater power competition instead of endless nation building distractions. This is the kind of quiet, practical repositioning that strengthens deterrence. It's America first in action, looking after our interests, our troops, and our partners without apology. Now, here's the part that would make you laugh if it weren't so predictable. The mainstream media will barely cover this. They will not write about the strategic chessboard. They will not tell you that Trump is systematically restoring American leverage in the Indo Pacific while China expands its influence and militarizes the South China Sea. No discussion of logistics, no discussion of the first island chain, no discussion of why forward munitions capacity actually matters in a high end fight. They ignore the hard power, they ignore the deterrence, they obsess over the cafeteria menu on an aircraft carrier. That's what they do because acknowledging that these moves strengthen the United States under Trump does not fit the narrative. They'd rather talk about anything else, climate pronouns or the mess in the galley, than admit that serious people are finally treating China as the peer competitor it is. Subic Bay is coming back online in a limited but meaningful way. Storage, maintenance, a massive weapons hub in the works. The Philippines balancing its security needs against economic ties to Beijing. And the United States under Trump placing pieces on the board where they count. The mainstreams will keep writing about the food. We'll keep talking about the strategy. That's the difference. This is where we are today in America. We'll be back, and we hope you will too.